Hello and welcome to my channel. I am the Loyal Hufflepuff, and today we are going to be reading Shadow and Bone. This is the first book in the trilogy, also titled Shadow and Bone. And there is a Netflix series out that's also based off the same book and the same name. It also follows along another book in a duology called Six of Crows, which I'm looking forward to reading in the near future. I will warn you right now that if you hear any coughing, that would be my wife. She is not 100% at the moment, but do not let that disturb you as we go through the book. I'm looking forward to continuing this reading, and like I said, I think I mentioned in the previous video, I have been on a hiatus because I've been trying to get back to my YouTube channel, and it was a bit of a doozy. So I'm glad I'm back and glad I'm on my channel, and we'll get started. Chapter 15. Only when I was in my room, the door closed securely behind me, did I let my sobs overtake me. I slid to the floor, my back pressed against the bed, my arms around my knees, trying to hold myself together. By now, Maul would be leaving the palace, traveling back to Sibia to join the other trackers hunting Morozava's herd. The distance widening between us felt like a palpable thing. I felt further from him than I had in all the lonely months that had gone before. I rubbed my thumb over the scar on my palm. "Come back," I whispered, my body shaking with sobs. "Come back." But he wouldn't. I'd as good as ordered him to leave. I knew I would probably never see him again, and I ached with it. I don't know how long I sat there in the dark. At some point, I became aware of a soft knocking at my door. I sat up straight, trying to stifle my sniffling. What if it was the Darkling? I couldn't bear to see him now, to explain my tears to him. But I had to do something. I dragged myself to my feet and opened the door. A bony hand snaked around my wrist, seizing me in an iron grip. "Baghra?" I asked, peering at the woman standing at my door. "Come," she said, pulling at my arm and glancing over her shoulder. "Leave me alone, Baghra." I tried to pull away from her, but she was surprisingly strong. "You come with me now, girl," she bit out. "Now." Maybe it was the intensity of her gaze, or the shock of seeing fear in her eyes. Or maybe I was just used to doing what Baghra said. But I followed her out the door. She closed it behind us, keeping hold of my wrist. "What is this? Where are we going?" "Quiet." Instead of turning right and heading toward the main staircase, she dragged me in the opposite direction to the other end of the hall. She pressed a panel in the wall, and a hidden door swung open. She gave me a shove. I didn't have the will to fight her, so I stumbled down the narrow spiral staircase. Every time I looked back at her, she gave me another little push. When we reached the bottom of the stairs, Baghra stepped in front of me and led me down a cramped hallway, with bare stone floors and plain wooden walls. It looked almost naked compared to the rest of the little palace, and I thought we might be in the servants' quarters. Baghra grabbed hold of my wrist again and tugged me into a dark, empty chamber. She lit a single candle, locked and bolted the door, then crossed the room and reached up on her tiptoes to draw close the curtain on the tiny basement window. The room was sparsely furnished with a narrow bed, a simple chair, and a wash basin. "Here," she said, shoving a pile of clothes at me. "Put these on." "I'm too tired for lessons, Baghra." No more lessons. You must leave this place tonight." I blinked. What are you talking about?" "I'm trying to keep you from spending the rest of your life as a slave. Now get changed." Baghra, what's going on? Why did you bring me down here? We don't have much time. The Darkling is close to finding Morozava's herd. Soon he will have the stag." "I know," I said, thinking of Maul. My heart ached, but I also couldn't resist feeling a little smug. I thought you didn't believe in Mosra's stag. She waved her arm as if brushing away my words. That's what I told him. I hoped that he might give up the stag's pursuit if he thought it was nothing but a peasant tale. But once he has it, nothing will be able to stop him. I threw my hands up in exasperation. Stop him from doing what? Using the fold as a weapon. I see, I said. Does he plan to build a summer home there? Bagra seized hold of my arm. This isn't a joke. There was a desperate, unfamiliar edge to her voice, and her grip on my arm was nearly painful. What was wrong with her? Bagra, maybe we should go to the infirmary. I'm not sick, and I'm not insane, she spat. You must listen to me. Then talk sense, I said. How could anyone use the shadow fold as a weapon? She leaned into me, her fingers digging into my flesh. By expanding it. Right, I said slowly, trying to extricate myself from her grasp. The land that the unsea covers was once green and good, fertile and rich. Now it is dead and barren, crawling with admonitions. The Darkling will push its boundaries north into Furda, south to the Shuhan. Those who do not bow to him will see their kingdoms turned to desolate wasteland, and their people devoured by ravening Volcra. I gaped at her in horror, shocked by the images she had conjured. The old woman had clearly lost her mind. Bagra, I said gently, I think you have some kind of fever, or you've gone completely senile. Finding the stag is a good thing. It means I can help the Darkling destroy the fold. No, she cried, and it was almost a howl. He never intended to destroy it. The fold is his creation. I sighed. Why had Bagra picked tonight to lose all touch with reality? The fold was created hundreds of years ago by the Black Heretic. The Darkling, he is the Black Heretic, she said furiously, her face mere inches from mine. Of course he is. With some effort, I pried her fingers loose and stepped past her to the door. I'm going to find you a healer, and then I'm going to bed. Look at me, girl. I took a deep breath and turned around, my patience at an end. I felt sorry for her, but this was just too much. Bagra, the words died on my lips. Darkness was pulling in Bagra's palms, the skeins of inky blackness floating into the air. You do not know him, Alina. It was the first time she had ever used my name. But I do. I stood there, watching dark spirals unfurl around her, trying to comprehend what I was seeing. Searching Bagra's strange features, I saw the explanation clearly written there. I saw the ghost of what must have once been a beautiful woman who gave birth to a beautiful son. You're his mother, I whispered numbly. She nodded. I am not mad. I am the only person who knows what he truly is, what he truly intends, and what I am telling you that you must run. The Darkling had claimed he didn't know what Bagra's power was. Had he lied to me? I shook my head, trying to clear my thoughts, trying to make sense of what Bagra was telling me. It's not possible, I said. The Black Heretic lived hundreds of years ago. He has served countless kings, faked countless deaths, bided his time, waiting for you. Once he takes control of the fold, no one will be able to stand against him. A shiver went through me. No, I said. He told me the fold was a mistake. He called the Black Heretic evil. The fold was no mistake. Bagra dropped her hands, and the swirling darkness around her melted away. The only mistake was the Volcra. He did not anticipate them, did not think to wonder what power of that magnitude might do to mere men. My stomach turned. The Volcra were men? Oh yes. Generations ago, farmers and their wives, their children. I warned him that there would be a price, but he didn't listen. He was blinded by his hunger for power, just as he is blinded now. You're wrong, I said, rubbing my arms. trying to shake the bone-deep cold stealing through me. You're lying. Only the Volcra have kept the Darkling from using the fold against his enemies. They are his punishment, a living testimony to his arrogance. But you will change all that. The monsters cannot abide sunlight. Once the Darkling has used your power to subdue the Volcra, he will be able to enter the fold safely. He will finally have what he wants. There will be no limit to his power. I shook my head. He wouldn't do that. He would never do that. I remember the night he'd spoken to me by the fire in the broken down barn, the shame and sorrow in his voice. I've spent my life searching for a way to make things right. You're the first glimmer of hope I've had in a long time. He said he wants to make Ravka whole again. He said that. Stop telling me what he said, she snarled. He is ancient. He's had plenty of time to master lying to a lonely, naive girl. She advanced on me, her black eyes burning. Think, Alina, if Ravka is made whole, the Second Army will no longer be vital to its survival. The Darkling will be nothing but another servant of the king. That is his dream of the future? Is that his dream of the future? I was starting to shake. Please stop. But with the fold in his power, he will spread destruction before him. He will lay waste to the world, and he will never have to kneel to another king again. No, all because of you. No, I shouted at her. I wouldn't do that. Even if what you're saying is true, I would never help him to do that. I would never help him do that. You won't have a choice. The stag's power belongs to whoever slays it. But he can't use an amplifier, I protested weakly. He can use you, Bagra said softly. Morozova stag is no ordinary amplifier. He will hunt it. He will kill it. He will take its antlers, and once he places them around your neck, you will belong to him completely. You'll be the most powerful Grisha who has ever lived, and all that newfound power will be his to command. Sorry. It's okay, sweetie. You'll be the most powerful Grisha who has ever lived. You'll be bound to him forever, and you will be powerless to resist. It was a pity in her voice that undid me. Pity from the woman who had never allowed me a moment's weakness, a moment's rest. My legs gave way. I slid to the floor. I covered my head with my hands, trying to block out Bagra's voice, but I couldn't stop the Darkling's words from echoing through my mind. We all serve someone. The king is a child. You and I are going to change the world. He had lied to me about Bagra. He had lied about the Black Heretic. He had lied about the stag too? Had he lied about the stag too? I'm asking you to trust me. Bagra had begged him to give me another amplifier, but he'd insisted it had to be the stag's antlers. A necklace, no, a collar of bone. And when I'd pushed him, he'd kissed me and I'd forgotten all about the stag and amplifiers and everything else. I remembered his perfect face in the lamplight, his stunned expression, his rumpled hair. Had it all been deliberate? The kiss by the lakeshore, the flash of hurt that had played across his face that night in the barn. Every human gesture, every whispered confidence, even what had happened between us tonight. I cringed at the thought. I could still feel his warm breath on my neck, hear his whisper in my ear. The problem with wanting is that it makes us weak. How right he was. I'd wanted so badly to belong somewhere, anywhere. I'd been so eager to please him, so proud to keep his secrets, but I'd never bothered to question what he might really want, what his true motives might be. I'd been too busy imagining myself by his side, the savior of Ravka, most treasured, most desired, like some kind of queen. I'd made it so easy for him. You and I are going to change the world. Just wait. Put on your pretty clothes and wait for the next kiss, the next kind word. Wait for the stag. Wait for the collar. Wait to be made into a murderer and a slave. He had warned me that the age of glacial power was coming to an end. I should have known he would never let that happen. I took a shaky breath and tried to still my trembling. I thought of poor Alexei and all the others who had been left to die in the black reaches of the fold. I thought of the ashen sands that had once been soft brown earth. I thought of the Volcra, the first victims of the Black Heretic's greed. Did you really think I was done with you? Let's see, where was I? I thought of the ashen sands that had once been soft brown earth. I thought of the Volcra, the first victims of the Black Heretic's greed. Did you really think I was done with you? The Darkling wanted to use me. He wanted to take away the one thing that had ever really belonged to me, the only power I'd ever had. I got to my feet. I was going to make it easy for him. I wasn't going to make it easy for him anymore. All right, I said, reaching for the pile of clothes Bagger had bought for me. What do I do? And that's the end of chapter 15.